Happy Thursday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, a day of celebration for victory, revolutionary victory. I can't remember the history of it. I looked it up at one point, and as I always say, I've forgotten more than I've ever learned. That always seems to be the case. But Cinco de Mayo, gotta go out and have some tequila, mezcal, cervezas, tacos, nachos. Just another reason to party, right? With something else to celebrate. You know, every day, I don't even know what it is. I don't even know where the list is, what it is. Every day is National Ice Cream Day, National, Hockey Stick Day. It's all that, Who makes this stuff up? I guess, is there like a calendar? You go to a park and reserve a pavilion? Is it, do you write it down somewhere? Or who's maintaining this list? Is it on the blockchain or is it centralized? I don't know. But, yep, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 5th of May. Kind of like the 4th of July. Just the date. Holiday. Independence Day, 4th of July. Rambling today. It's rainy out today. It's not the best weather here. It's still like mid-50s for a high. And then, spill that. Mid-50s for a high, rainy, just kind of nasty weather. Next week, we're going to be in the 80s. Mid-80s. Summer is here all of a sudden. Boom. I was thinking, what else? No, you don't know. That's what I'm going to say it. I watch the Today Show. I get snippets of it, when the girls, man, I got to quit saying that. When the girls are getting ready for school. And so I'll watch it because I want to see what the messaging is, for the powers that be. And apparently, Ukraine isn't such a big deal anymore. It seems that the big deal now is, oh, cool. The museum has a new exhibit, which is always awesome. But the big deal now is the abortion debate. And by saying the word, I could be in trouble, because it might get flagged or triggered or something. But the big abortion debate, Roe v. Wade. You ever feel like the only purpose of the news and politics is just to divide us? I apologize for the wiper going. I should probably get a new wiper on the Digibug. But it seems like the whole purpose of mainstream news, the political system, is just to divide people. Did it with the pandemic. Hey, are you a masker or are you not a masker? Are you a vaxxer or an anti-vaxxer? And that's, and so people get upset if you just see them fighting on airplanes. Also, after that, you've got the Ukraine situation, which just kind of overtook the whole debate. But I do see them trying to roll it out again with, the variant is more dangerous and it could come back, and they're just setting it up for the fall and the winter again to try and do the same thing they always do, and we'll see how complicit people are. But, you got people arguing about Ukraine, it's this, it's that, is it fake? Is Putin in there actually strategically destroying weapons, biolabs? Is he, a white hat? Or is he going in there and, just going to invade the rest of Europe? Who knows? Who knows? All I know is that the ruble's actually strengthened since that happened. That was the male lady, not a male man today, a male lady. But the ruble's actually strengthened, the Russian ruble, since the sanctions went into effect. Probably because it has kind of a quasi-peg to gold, and you have to pay in rubles for a real resource like natural gas. Therefore, that currency becomes more valuable and worth more, unlike the dollar, which is worth less, because our purchasing power is being eroded by inflation. And what is inflation? Inflation is nothing more than the creation of money. And we have the Federal Reserve, that bank, that central bank, which is not a government bank, it's outsourced, third party. Look who owns the Federal Reserve. It's basically other banks that make money by printing up money for the U.S. government and other governments. But they raised rates by 0.5%. Wasn't I think it was 0.5%. I don't know. It really doesn't matter because they're still creating money. They're just maybe not going to make it as easy to get. A little bit harder to get. But if you look at historical rates, it's way low. I don't even know what it is. The Fed funds rate, it's like 1% maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked. Because it doesn't matter. Because when you have a Ponzi scheme like this, when you have a debt-based system to where every dollar that's created into existence has debt attached to it, so you don't have to pay back just the dollar, you have to pay back the dollar and the debt associated with it. Okay, well, where does that money outside of that $1 come from? Because you created $1, but you got to pay back, as let's say, $1 and a penny, 1%. Where's that penny come from? It's got to get created. Well, it's got to get created by borrowing, because that's what the system does. It has to be created by borrowing it into existence. Okay, now you got interest on that penny that you got to pay. Where's that come from? Well, you got to borrow that into existence. See, when you put this onto a larger scale, though, and you're talking trillions, that means a lot of money's got to get created every year just to pay the outstanding interest. So where does that end? Because you either grow it and make it continually grow because you have to grow that pool, the larger pool of money, so that you can pay the interest. So where does it end? It has to keep growing. If it doesn't keep growing, then it dies. And that's where you have bankruptcies, and that's where you have foreclosures, and that's where you have, repossessions, because it gets to a point where there's just not as much money needed to pay back the debts. Once you tap everybody out and you start draining savings, and taxing them higher and, bleeding them in every which way, shrinkflation, I'm talking about that now, where the packaging is actually shrinking and you get this, the same price. So, what used to be a 32-ounce package is now a 28-ounce package, but the price is the same, or maybe even more. So you get hit on both sides of it. You get less and you pay more, and you're gonna like it. That's where you're at, though. It's just an unstable system because it's debt-based. You have to borrow money into existence, and you got to pay back the interest. So you got to borrow more money to pay back that interest, and then so on and so on and so on. And it gets to a point where it becomes so unsustainable that you're never going to pay back the interest, and you realize that. The national government will never pay the debt. Never pay back all that interest. It's not going to do it. So they'll just keep on kicking the can down the road, raising the debt ceiling, and, they just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. At some point, you're not bringing in enough money, and I think we're already there, bringing in enough money through taxation, and you can't bring in enough money through taxation because the balloon is so big, you could tax everybody on all their wealth and it still won't matter, all their income. It still won't be enough. What do you do then? What do you do? You're basically insolvent. Well, no, what they'll do is monetize the debt. So essentially what happens is they'll borrow all the money that they need and then fulfill the obligations. But they will simply have the Fed print it up. And they'll print more and more of it. And then they'll pay the debts back, and it'll keep going and going and going until you've completely destroyed the economy. And that's kind of where we're headed. And then what? Then you probably have a war, which essentially ushers you into a new economic system, the digital system that's going to fix all this. That's what's going to help. That's what we'll fix all this, and we'll have it under control. We'll be able to control it and monitor it, and we won't have all that cash out there causing problems, and we'll do it right this time with our central bank digital currencies that we can lock down, and you can't go anywhere if we don't let you go anywhere. You can't buy anything if we don't let you buy it or want you to buy it. You're not getting that cheeseburger today, sir. You're too fat. You're overweight. You get a hamburger, no cheese. Think about the horror of the situation, because if it's tied to a social credit score. So in other words, you're rated based on your behavior and how you act. Think Uber. You take an Uber, and the Uber driver, I think, rates you, and you rate the Uber driver. Well, if you're a jerk and you're a jerk all the time, you may get them there faster than anybody else, but they don't like you, so you get a bad rating. Well, what if you're rated like that everywhere you go? And what if your rating out of 5 is like 3? Well, if you want to take the elevator, sir, you got to have a 3.6 or higher. You're taking the stairs, and the elevator doesn't unlock for you. Whether it's a badge that you carry or something, a chip implant, or eye scan, whatever it is, some personal identification. What if everything is tied to that? Your credit, you're a 3.1, you need to have a 3.9. This house is going to cost you more. You're just not a good neighbor. It's tied to your medical history. What if everything's just tied together? Everything about you is known. And so, you're not getting that cheeseburger. You're obese, sir. You're overweight. You're not healthy. You're a drain on the system. You are not going to be allowed to go to McDonald's, which is probably a good idea anyway. But you're not going to be allowed to spend that money that we control in this digital system if you're not playing by the rules. You got 4 people in your household, you only need this much. You try to buy more, the little magic card, the digital money doesn't work. And so then you think, well, shoot, I got to get my hands on more of those cheeseburgers. Where can I get them? Well, then you might have a friend go buy a cheeseburger for you. But if that friend gets caught, you're going to be in trouble. They're going to freeze his account so he can't use it anymore. See, it's a control grid that they're very close to implementing because they know everything about us everywhere we go. We've got this personal device, phone. What if they take it a step further and all your information's tied to it? And if they know all that information, you can have this serious control grid, this prison planet, as Alex Jones has always said. You can have a situation like that because of the technology. Now, that's a scary thought. You're giving away everything. So what do you do if that's coming? Well, you should fight it, and you shouldn't go along with it. You should try and stop it at the local level, and it gets into what's going to happen with this Roe v. Wade stuff. You're going to have states making decisions now based on, what they're going to tolerate, at what level when it comes to the abortion issue. And different states are going to have different opinions because the states are made up of different people. It's a different culture in different states. And so those states are going to decide things. And I think that's what we have to do with these things. We have to decide as people because we have more control at the state level or even the local county level, city level, county level. I mean, that's where we have to say, no, we're not going to participate in this. And when it comes to the money, that makes it very difficult because, what do we use now? We use dollars, Federal Reserve notes. We all do it. We all know it's failing. We all know it doesn't purchase as much as it used to. It's becoming worth less every day. But what are we doing about it? I mean, how are we changing it now? And if they usher in some cyber attack, some collapse, some engineered failure, some false flag, if they do that and say, well, all the money in the bank's frozen, it's lost, the system crashed, we'll make you whole, though, in the new system, and here's your central bank digital currency account, your CBDCs. What are you going to do? Because you're at the mercy of that slave system, that casino at that point, because you put all your poker chips into the casino. And they just pulled them. Completely rug pulled you. And you really don't have any recourse because you could have done something with them prior to that event, but you didn't. And so now you're stuck. You got your retirement locked up in that dollar-based system. You can't access it. It's locked up for this or that. You're going to have tax penalties. So they make it hard. They don't want you to get your money until a certain point, and then you can start accessing it. Better to have it than not have it. Possession is 9/10 of the law. You've heard that one. You got it in your hand, it's a lot harder to take away. But if it's in a system that's, face it, it's a vampire system. It's a rigged casino. If you've got your wealth tied up into that system, they control that, and they don't have to give you the money right now even. And it's going to be that much worse once it's all completely digital. and they can put any limitations they want on it. It's just code at that point. They can not let you purchase things. You will not get that cheeseburger. You will get the slab of what is called meat and no bun. That's what you're going to get. And so, I mean, that's a realistic scenario with the technology. So it's probably a good idea to maybe, if you see this coming, not participate in that system, not have your wealth tied up in their poker chips. Maybe put it into something else. And if we're talking digital money, I would look at Litecoin. Way undervalued. Way undervalued. If you're talking real assets in the real world, tangible things that you can hold, gotta have food. You know, if you got a little bit of dirt, you can get heirloom seeds, put those in. But, I mean, silver has always stood the test of time. It's always held value. It's always been money since the beginning of mankind, really, once they discovered it. And it has technological uses, too. So if we're going full digital, if we are going into this matrix world, this prison planet, electronic prison planet, if we are doing that, all those electronic devices require silver. So from an industrial standpoint, from an investment standpoint, a speculative standpoint, it's probably a good investment. But it's also money, has been used as money. I mean, the coinage in the United States prior to 1965, 1964 and before, 90% silver in the quarters, the dimes, $half, dollars. So, it's been used. What Jesus was sold out for 30 shekels of silver, right? By Judas. So history has shown that it has had value. And it will hold value in the real world. And I think it will continue to hold value in the real world. It will serve as money, but also it's going to be a necessary component. At some point, governments are probably going to make it a strategic asset for national security because they require it for all of these electronics. You got to make sure they have it. Just my thinking. So, I mean, that's a real world item. Food, real world items. Canned goods, real world items. The stuff you're going to use, stuff you're going to need. Have it. Might as well have it. Better to have it, not need it, than need it and not have it. So, I mean, those are just things to think about. But I just see it, nonstop getting pushed that way. And we can try and stop it. We should try and stop it at the local levels, at the state levels, individual levels, by not participating in certain things, not going along with it. And you got to find little ways to do that, to make it more difficult for that beast system to roll forward. We all have our own methods. You just got to think of those things. If you see it coming, figure out ways to kind of throw a wrench into that beast that's rolling along. So, I don't know, just some thoughts. I'm just kind of rambling today, but, those are some things to think about. It's a rainy day, and I'm going to be inside. Got the little dog over here. She's being really good. She's taking to training pretty well. She's starting to listen. Had her on the leash and walking her around, showing her what boundaries are and where no is, and that kind of thing. And rewarding her when I'm able to let her go out of the house without the leash because she would run. And now she's been going out and she goes potty, comes in, give her a little treat. See, that's it. You got to have treats. The treats, the goodies. That's what gets you there. Hey, sign up for this credit card and we'll give you, a plastic hat or something. It's just always about the little treats and the goodies. But no, she's doing pretty well. I don't want to pick her up. She's sleeping and I don't want to disturb her. But Tilly is doing well. The new puppy is coming, I think, next week, maybe toward the end of next week. And so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully this one's in a good spot to where she can mentor the other one. Puppy love, baby. I don't know, something about dogs. All right, I hope you have a wonderful Thursday. Enjoy your Cinco de Mayo. Maybe relax a little bit. Let the world's burdens kind of fall off of you, and a couple of cervezas or something. And but just continue to think, where we're headed and what we can do about it. How we can get our assets, our energy, our wealth out of a vampire system into something of value. And I just mentioned a few things that I think have value and will have value going forward. I think Litecoin will. I think silver will. Gold will, but, you know, and Bitcoin will. But, I mean, I look at those as being overvalued compared to other assets like Litecoin and silver. You know, and that's my big thing. I think, you know, for the small guys, you know, and gals that we are, the limited resources that we have that keep getting drained away every day more and more, I think that those are the best bang for your buck, so to speak. Just way undervalued. They really are, and they do the same things as their bigger brothers. You know, Litecoin can do everything Bitcoin can, but faster. And there are 4 times as many Litecoins, so, you know, that makes it a little bit less scarce than Bitcoin, but it is still really scarce. 84 million coins. You know, you just do the math on it. It's enough for a quarter of a Litecoin per person in the U.S. Quarter of a Litecoin, 0.25. And you can buy one Litecoin for a little over $100 today. Pretty good investment, I think. And it's got confidential transactions built into it that go live here in a couple of weeks. Nimble Wimble, that's a big deal. Bitcoin does not have that. Silver does everything gold does, pretty much. Pretty much. It might tarnish a little bit, whereas gold doesn't, but it's still, it does everything gold does. Yeah, some things even better. So conductivity, you know, best conductor out there, I think, is silver. Better than copper, but it's more expensive, so we use copper. Even though copper is pretty damn expensive right now. I'm watching my mouth. But yeah, it's ridiculous. You go buy some copper wire. I don't know how these people are doing it, building houses, the cost of materials. I mean, it's just outrageous. It's just crazy. All right. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Spending your time. I hope you have give some of these things some thought, how you can change your life, how you can, you know, really feel more confident that you're holding your own wealth and your own value. It's not for everybody, but going forward, I would rather hold it, make a mistake, you know, maybe lose some. I've done that, and learn, rather than have somebody just shut me down and say you can't have access to any of your money, anything you've saved up, and they just take it away, and they'll do that. I'd rather take the risk of holding it myself rather than that. All right. Trust yourselves. Always trust yourself. You know, you don't live a life of regret. Just, you know what you need to do. You know deep down what you need to do, and trust yourself and do it. And whatever happens, happens. But the thing is, it's like you are responsible for yourself. Nobody else is. And so I'd hate to have you, you know, I hate to see people make mistakes and say, I knew I should have done that, but I listened to this person, that person, you know, but I knew in my gut it was right. Then they didn't do it. Trust yourself. All right. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.